Good afternoon and welcome. Good day, good people. This is Michelle Dawes-Burt, host of Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I'm super excited today because I just love my guest. She's amazing. I've known her a couple of years, but we'll get into that. First of all, thanks everyone for spending a few moments with us this afternoon. Like I said, I'm super excited. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's warm here. It's hot.
It's hot Atlanta.
It's hot Atlanta. Mm-hmm. We are getting it. It is back to school week.
Hallelujah.
Our kids went back to school like Thursday. Some are going tomorrow on Monday. It's all over the place. Trump was here yesterday. Just the city's just it's just in a space. There's just so much going on. Everybody wants to come to Atlanta. Listen, if you don't live here, go home. Go.
Okay, New Yorker.
Yeah, go home. It's crowded. We're maxed out. The roads are tight. It's a thing, but no. All is welcome here. Atlanta's a beautiful city. We just ask that you bring good vibes, good energy. If you're going to stay here, that's all we require that you do. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be hot. We have warm winters, etc., etc. Enough about that. Listen, today, my topic today is how to keep your core values in a changing world. And I have none other than Maggie, the substitute. Hi, Maggie.
Hey, Michelle.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah,
been too long.
We have history. We used to work together.
Long time
ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've been through some things.
Man, the kids grew up together.
Our kids grew up together. Mm-hmm. Listen, I can count on one hand how many places Christopher has laid his head.
Aww.
You're one of the places.
Aww.
Yeah, I didn't let my son hang out with just anybody, especially those overnights and things like that. He spent weekends there with you and the boys, had a great time.
Absolutely.
And now they act like they're men now.
Exactly. You're different. I was trying to offload mine whenever. They bring the party where they go.
I know. And you were so kind. You would have Christopher when your boys would be with their dad.
Absolutely.
You were like, I didn't mind, because you were like, he's a helper. He's great company.
He's great. We did events together.
Yeah, you did do a lot of good things.
He was suited and booted.
It was great.
It was great.
You guys went grocery shopping. He was pushing the buggy for you.
I wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
I used to have the wild goats running around, so I wasn't used to the order. It was wonderful.
It's wonderful. So thank you for helping me with all of that.
Absolutely.
So listen, let's just kind of get into some of this. But really, I want to talk about, where are you from, Maggie?
So my name is Margaret, Margaret Apia. I am from Ghana in West Africa. It's a beautiful, peaceful country in West Africa. Was born there, so I come from a traditional African family. But we did come to America when I was 1. So I grew up here in the South, in Athens, go Dogs, and everybody in my family went to Georgia except for me. But it was a great small town upbringing.
And why did you not go to
Oh, you know what? I was on my way to UGA. It's a good school, but being in a town where almost everybody who was going to college was going to Georgia, it was kind of an extension of high school. And at the last minute, my choir director, I do like to sing, me,
la, la.
He asked me to go visit the Spelman College Glee Club, just to go listen to them. And when I walked on the campus, and I had never been on an HBCU campus before, and I went from being one or two of me in a class to everybody was on it, and beautiful and unique, and it was just, I went home and told my parents I have to go to Spelman, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
So you are here in Atlanta. You went to Spelman. Did you decide to stay here once you graduated from Spelman?
I did. So I graduated in '99. I just had my 25th reunion.
I saw.
So I'm a silver sister.
You looked great. You and the ladies looked phenomenal.
Thank you so much. So yes, I was pre-med, again, traditional immigrant family, but I'm not really trying to take care of, the hospital work is very, very intensive.
Yes.
So at the last minute, I decided to work, and I went into corporate America in sales, and a company came to campus to recruit. So I got a job at the career placement office and then worked here in sales for about 5 years in Atlanta. Went back to school to do my MBA and then worked during the day, worked at night, got married right after college. And so I was trying to juggle all of that. Once I finished graduate school, got promoted, and that's what took us to Virginia, and both of the boys were born there, and then we ended up moving back.
And so when I met you, you were married, and then currently you are not. So somewhere along the road, we got divorced, right? But we're amicable, right?
Absolutely,
we're good, right?
Absolutely. My ex-husband, even though it didn't work out with us, he's an amazing father.
Yes.
The boys actually live with their dad now that they're teenagers.
Man.
So it has been, it was definitely hard the first year. I talk about this a lot on my channel. I do have a channel. I make food and femininity content. So when I talk about relationship stuff, I know I got caught up in a little bit of the modern woman thinking and competitiveness. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really help in a relationship. So we did divorce amicably. But like I said, the boys live with dad. We meet every week. We have a family meeting. We show up at events together. A lot of the teachers don't even know we're divorced.
Wow.
Because we are just a family unit.
And that's always going to be, I'm going to slide your mic over so that we can hear that beautiful, feminine, soft, loving voice.
So
I want to talk about some of the things because I know, Margaret, when you're in it, right? We can't see it, and we don't understand what's going on. And so you're out of it now, and you're healed from the divorce. You've learned, and I commend you too, because you're owning your piece of whatever happened or not happened. And if nothing else, we have two beautiful children that came out of that relationship, and we love those boys, and we like Dave. Dave's great. He's a good
great.
guy. As long as you're a good father, we're good. We're good with that stuff. But I hear you saying that it was competitive. Did you felt that while you were married, that you were trying to prove something? Or what?
Yes, but not only during the marriage. I think just the modern world that we live in is very fast-paced. You and I both work corporate.
Yes.
You know, it's competitive, it's data-driven because the companies want to outdo each other.
Right.
Then as workers, we want to outdo each other.
Agreed.
And I have just learned as I've aged that I can do that, but is that the best version of myself?
Right.
No.
Right.
And so I put myself in a breadwinner role. I put myself out front. You know, I wanted to have a certain type of lifestyle. And then you realize 10 years and 2 kids later, I was miserable. And then how do you undo something that you asked for?
Right. I want to talk about the cooking piece, because you said you have your own channel.
I do.
How did we get into that space? How did that epiphany happen? What happened for you?
Oh, goodness. So my channel is Maggie the Substitute Teacher because I cook with sugar substitutes, dairy substitutes, and gluten substitutes, hence the substitute teacher.
Right.
So growing up in a traditional family, and my mom is actually a retired home economics teacher. So I grew up with family dinners. She showed us how to cook, even me and my brother. It was just a life skill. And always being someone who struggled with weight and enjoying food, clearly, as I aged, the weight problem started to turn into health problems.
Okay.
So I became pre-diabetic. I had elevated cholesterol and borderline blood pressure.
Really?
And I knew that this was not sustainable, so I had to do something. So I went to see a metabolic specialist, and she told me about the sugar, dairy, and gluten.
Yes.
So I just started recreating recipes that I was making for the family, because I was also cooking every day just as a mom and wife anyway. I enjoy it. But I started recreating those recipes using my substitutes. And I would cook privately, and then I would just post the finished dish online.
Yeah.
And people would see it, because I have a little knack for presentation. And then people would say, did you make that? How did you make it? Where did you get the ingredients? What did you do first? And I was responding in the comments. And then one day I was like, let me just go live and show people what I do. And I didn't think anybody would really care, because literally I'm cooking what I'm going to eat or what I'm serving the boys.
For your family,
Right. So watch it or don't watch it. This is what we're doing. But I've created a community of people who love food and just love trying new things.
You are a hostess with the most.
I try.
You talking about you have a knack for presentation? No, it is a thing.
It is a thing. I love it. I love serving.
You do.
I love taking care of people.
Do.
I love making people feel warm and welcome.
You do.
Thank you. We're both Airbnb hosts.
Yes.
And so I love just making, I know what it feels like to be far from home and to feel out of place. So I love creating that for others.
You just have a love for people, and
do.
you make them feel welcome. And food had been the key.
And it's always going to be there.
Always be. And the presentation, like she's cleaning the side of the plates, like everything has to be nice.
Eat with our eyes
yeah,
first.
you eat with our eyes first.
Yeah.
So listen, how much weight was weight loss a goal for you, or just eating better?
It was. Well, here's the thing. I mean, being someone who struggled with weight, I've tried a lot of diets, like a lot of people have.
Yes.
And you restrict yourself, you're miserable, you gain 10, you lose 5. That was just my life.
Right.
But I just decided, you know, if I'm going to do something that I can stick with, I have to enjoy the food, because I know some people really don't care. Some people can eat the same thing every day. God bless them. But for me, it's really about the experience. I really love cuisine and trying and learning. And so I said, okay, what can I do with the recipes using ingredients that I have to make food that I want to have? So yes, I knew I needed to lose weight. And I had to find a way to balance weight loss and enjoying it, and I think I found that.
I think you found it too. How much weight have you lost?
So I was down about 80 pounds.
See, let's just pause right there.
I know.
80 pounds. Congratulations.
80 pounds. Thank you
look
so
amazing.
much.
You always look good anyway.
Aww.
Because you have a beautiful smile and wonderful personality and all that great stuff. But now you're down 80. How are you feeling?
I feel amazing. I noticed I started to have a lot of joint pain that I thought was just aging.
Okay.
And you know, you get up and you have to kind of shake something out and you just think, oh, I'm just getting older. But it was really becoming debilitating. I'm a very active person. I love to travel and just move around in the kitchen. And I remember just kind of like wincing to kind of get through it. And I know, like, I'm older. I'll be 50 next year. I'm older, but we're not old. So I'm like, something is not right here. And so I went to get tested for the food sensitivities. And when I got my list, I said, well, I'll just try to eliminate the things that came up on my list. And without having lost any weight, within 48 hours of the, what do they call it, the elimination diet, the pain went away.
My goodness.
And that's when I realized, okay, there really is, like, food can be medicine and food can be poison too. And, you know, I don't come at it from a doctor's perspective. I just know that taking pain pills and where that was going is not what I wanted. So I really eat to stay pain-free, and the weight comes off as a byproduct. So I feel great, but I still have some extra weight I want to lose. And so, yeah, I do have a goal of 50 by 50. So I want to lose 50 more.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Maggie. I always call you MB.
Yeah, MB, Maggie,
MB,
Margaret.
I like you, MB. So have you had anybody from the food portion or branding of your life say, you know what, you've helped me? Like, by you doing the substitute cooking, I'm feeling better, I'm eating better. Are you hearing those testimonies?
I have some very loyal followers. You see them in my chat, and privately they'll message me that they've gone for doctor's visits and the doctor said, whatever you're doing, keep it up. Someone else, one of the ones that really touched me, a young woman said, thank you for giving us permission to eat differently. Because, you know, in our culture, we're all creatures of habit, and I like to say, we don't know what we like what we know. And so we just keep eating what was put in front of us. But I'm the Mikey, like, I'll go out, I'll try it, you know, I'll tell you, see how I taste at the end and I describe it. I'll let you all know.
Your descriptions are amazing.
So yes, I'll let you know, maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it, but I'll try just about anything.
You're just a cultured person too.
Thank you.
And so that helps a lot, because really for most people, and I'm going to speak for Black people, it's the same things that they're used to. It's always chicken and maybe some rice and potatoes and stuff. And if you present something different, I don't want to eat that. And so the fact that you travel, and you're open, like you're open to try something different and new, help save your life.
Absolutely.
In a sense. You know, it helps save you. And so are you feeling that the foods taste that much different since you're substituting?
Yes, it was hard in the beginning, especially cutting sugar. Okay. I never lie and say, oh, it's easy peasy. It really comes down to making a decision and kind of going through that detox, if you will. I do believe in everything in moderation. It's not like I'm a strict anything. But I always encourage people, do what works for you. But yes, it was hard in the beginning, but we crave more of what we eat. So when I started eating more vegetables, I wanted more vegetables. Just like when we start eating the sweets and the sugars, it's like that's what happens. So in that initial period, you have to kind of force yourself, no, we are going to do this. But afterwards, when I've been traveling and been eating off my plan, I actually kind of crave coming back to the good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole food and femininity thing,
Ooh.
it just opened up a whole new world for you.
It did, yeah.
It did. Because you were a wife, a mom.
Yeah.
Now you're a divorced wife, you know, mom, still like 10 toes down for your boys.
Yes.
And they're boys. They're they're boys. They're doing the soccer. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're everywhere, and you're for it. You know, mommy, we want to do this. We're at bumper cards. We're doing arcades. We're doing everything. You listen. And so this channel, you just sharing who you are, just turning on the little switch, boop, getting on social media, having the camera, the lights, the angles, talking to the people, opened you up.
Yes.
To people that you didn't even know.
True.
And it curated relationships and ideas.
Yes.
Where people started to lean in and said, you know, I think you might be good at this. Or maybe you might want to do this. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw you birthing and this was happening, you had he's a lawyer. And he had a huge following. He's talking about entertainment law and this and that. And you were just following him. And he gave you a few minutes of fame, right? A few minutes on the platform. He'll bring you in, you talk.
Yes.
And then you guys went on a dinner with some other people. And that just was a thing.
Yeah.
And it just took off.
It did.
And so now we have etiquette. We have relationships. We have everything. What came first? Was it the etiquette classes or the relationship conversations?
No, at the end of the day, I always say I have a cooking channel. Like, people find my content and they're like, tell us about you. I stand by it. I have a cooking channel.
Yes.
And so, yes, the lead attorney was someone I started watching in the pandemic because I got tired of watching the news and the bad news. And so he was doing trial streams. And, you know, he has his own following. But I heard him say once, if you're over 35, you have life experience that people need to know about.
Yes.
Just try it. Start a YouTube channel. And then that's what made me think, you know, people are always asking me about these recipes. Why don't I just start with the cooking? Yeah. So I took his courses in Mastermind, and through that networking, put me in touch with another big YouTuber. And these are people with 400, 500 million followers. Mm-hmm. And I went to London for a cooking collab. Someone wanted to learn how to cook, and I was like, well, that I can do. And so I went for the cooking collab, had a great time. And in the evening, she had a studio kind of like this one and said, hey, Maggie, we're going to be doing a podcast. Since you're here, do you want to just sit in? Yeah. And I'm kind of like, you know, I'm just here for cooking, but, you know, kid in a candy store, I'm kind of like, wow, this is so fun, you know, why not, right? When in Rome. So I sat down, I put on the headphones, I got suited and booted, and I'm just looking at all these big YouTubers talk and, you know, just kind of taking it all in. And they were talking about relationships, which is the topic that everybody wants to talk about, relationships. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't speak much, but there were a few breaks in the conversation where I did offer my opinion. And I didn't really think it was anything that amazing, but people kind of were like, wow, bars. I thought they were talking about candy bars, handlebars. I didn't know, you know, I'm not cool. And so people were like, bars, this is amazing, preach. And I'm just kind of like, right? So finish the podcast. Come back home to Atlanta, put on my apron, back in the cooking channel.
Yes.
And so I do have an editor who helps me. And I said, well, this was like a 2.5-hour podcast overseas. Can you just clip my speaking part so I can show the audience, hey, y'all, we did this, the scholars, right? And so he clipped one and we posted it up. I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, comment, likes, comment, share, forward, comment. And I was like, what did I say? I went back and I was like, well, yeah, I guess I did say that. And the rest is history. People started asking, this is amazing. Do you do consults? Now I do. Do you have a cookbook? Now I do. Do you have a course? Now I do. Everything has been kind of chasing behind the growth of that moment. And, you know, my upbringing plus my relationship, and I think being an older woman who is open enough to say what I've done right, what I've done wrong. Yes. And I know I'm not perfect, but just wanting to help. Yes. So I think it just kind of comes from that.
And you're not scorned, Maggie.
No.
And you're not scorned. Mm-hmm. You're not angry.
No.
You're not bitter. You're like really wanting everyone to do well in their own way, you know. And it's just refreshing. It's just your time.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? So it makes sense. Why wouldn't people want to trust you? Because you have nothing to gain in being mean and miserable and nasty.
No, that's not helping. We have enough of that. I think there's enough poison out there, and people, like you said, are unhealed. We've all had our heart broken. Everybody has a story that'll bring a tear to your eye, but I think at some point I have to look at the rest of my life that I want to live, and how can I learn from that and get better. You know, divorce is, of course, incredibly unfortunate, and it was rough, you know, but I went to therapy, learned, and then decided to do better second time around. So, you know, now I'm very happy. I think part of it is my natural personality of being an optimist, but I think a big part of it is choosing every day to see the good.
That's awesome. What did you learn in therapy about yourself, if you don't mind me asking? If there's just one thing that you could share that could help other people, what was it about you that
So I did individual therapy, couples therapy, and group therapy. And I remember in the group therapy, and this wasn't even so much about the relationship, but one of the therapists said, you have to allow people to get there in their own time.
I heard that, yeah.
Because you got ready when you were ready. Nobody could tell you until you were ready to hear it. And I think that's a big part of my approach. I don't try to, you know, slap anybody across the head or say you have to do it this way. I say, this is what I've done. You know, I believe the internet is forever. That is one good thing about social media. And sometimes it just takes people time. And I've had people come back and say, you told me this last time, but now I get it. And I give people grace with that. So that was the thing. You don't want to be that, she had a name for it. You don't want to be that, it'll come back to me, but it's almost like, you know, well, like, yeah, that's the reformed smoker. Now all of a sudden you see, you know, the dangers ahead, but when you were in it, you know, couldn't nobody tell you anything. So I'm very cautious about, you know, if this is helpful, I'm happy to share, but I understand not everybody wants to hear from me. Not everybody will receive it, but for those who do, I give them my heart.
What is your message? I want to talk a little bit more about the relationship space, because I think it's the etiquette coaching that might have bled into or opened up the door in the relationship space. I don't know. You can correct me in that.
So the relationship came first, and so again, I have a cooking channel, and I stand by that. It's about 50-50 now, to be honest. So I went through my divorce, and then life brought me back to someone I grew up with that I loved and wanted to be in a relationship with. But what I have learned now, especially having boys, girls and boys mature
differently,
very differently. And it is hard, especially when you're dating someone at the same age. And so even though we were young, you know, he has flat out said, you know, look, I need to live my life, need to be a frat boy, all of that. And so life took us different directions. I got married, had 2 kids. It was wonderful. And then, like I said, reconnected with my childhood love. And the man that I saw the second time around blew me away. Could just tell you his 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goals, sat me down, said, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. Everything that I had been trying to make happen happened on its own. And so now I'm the deer in the headlights, like, oh boy, you know, like, I need to get it together. He's like, I have a goal. I want to be one of the Black VPs in Atlanta. I'm doing this. I'm moving here. And I was like, okay. And so I knew, I mean, you know, I have a very silly side and I can be quirky, and that's not always appropriate. And so privately, I didn't tell anyone. While having my cooking channel, I enrolled myself in etiquette and elegance classes because I wanted to be his lady and I wanted to make sure that I represented him well. And so I didn't say anything. I just started on this journey, and he noticed my conversation was better, my mannerisms, my posture, just everything. He asked me like weeks later, he's like, babe, what's up? You doing anything different? I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. I can't really. then the Maggie came out and I was like, oh, I want to tell you. I love it. So I told him, you know, what I was doing. He was like, that's great. Keep it up. I can tell. So again, I was just doing my thing on my cooking channel. And one day I was making a recipe and, you know, just had some water, but it was in like a glass of some sort, like a wine glass, maybe it was just water. And I'm doing the recipe. I said, ladies, make sure when you hold your stemware, you hold it by the stem. I learned that in etiquette class, just a little tip. And then I went back to the recipe. here comes the chat. Etiquette class. What is that? Is that a thing? Tell us more. And I was like, oh no, I've done it again.
You done it again.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I was like, oh wow, y'all care about, I didn't think anybody would care, because the loud voices make it seem like the traditional ways are old-fashioned. Nobody does that anymore, whatever. So I was like, okay, I'll just be me. Exactly. So people started asking me, and so I started doing like 80-20 relationship content a little bit, and then now it's about 50-50 and the course and all of that.
It's awesome. It's refreshing because, MB, when I go out or just seeing, I just feel like the minority.
Yes.
In every aspect, because I feel that the things that I find valuable are not the same for most people. Yeah. And I find that people are giving up, like succumbing to whatever today is saying to do. Yeah. And I had a male friend even say to me, well, Michelle, are you dating? You know, I was like, no, I'm not. And he says, why aren't you dating? I was like, I don't know. I'm out, I'm open, willing to talk to people, whatever. And then he said to me, well, why don't you give them more? Like change what you're offering, what you're giving. And I said, I should have to change who I am. I'm thinking, and this is a man saying, so in order for me to be noticed, do I have to show a little more? Do I need to and so I'm just like, well, let me put myself in timeout because I don't know, because there's a part of me, MB, that just, I want to change. I totally appreciate you having a person in your life that you care about and you want to support them. And so in order to support them, you'll do something a little different on your own terms. Yes. No one said to you, go ahead and take this etiquette class, whatever. You was like, you know what? I see myself down the road. This is what I want to do to show support. I'm in this person's corner. I'm going to take this class. I'm going to do what I need to do for me, but it's going to help this person, but down the road. Got it. I'm open for that. Right. But nowhere in there did you say, I'm changing in order to get a man. You're not doing anything to get a person. You're doing stuff to enhance what you bring to the table.
Yes, but.
Okay.
I would say this. I think it is important to know what you want. And I think we should customize ourselves for the outcome that we want. It has to be the outcome that we want. Like, for example, if I was totally fine, speak for myself, being loud, having, masculine mannerisms, just slamming stuff. Like, if I was like, that's just who I am, then he needs to find somebody that would be more amenable to what he wants. Understood. But I have a Southern gentleman who wants a lady, who sat me down and told me, I want a matriarch. I want a woman. I want this. This is important to me, and left the decision to me.
Up to you.
So yes, 100% to that. But as a boy mom, I think about men often, and I know that if men could have it their way, they wouldn't do half of the things that they have to do to get the woman of their dreams.
Understood. Okay.
So that's where I'm like, yes, but we meet in the middle. You shouldn't have to completely contort yourself.
I agree.
By all means, but I think you should want to be better.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. She is adorable.
Aw,
she is adorable. I love it. So the relationship thing, so you're actually talking about relationships and people are like, give me more, give me more, give me more. Are you finding, Margaret, that corporate America has made women, not all women, maybe some of us, a percentage, whatever, more aggressive, angry, or just machismo, and then top it off, we might be single, we might be divorced, we may be raising kids. Like, do you feel like that's contributing to how we're behaving?
100%. And I'll speak for myself, because you're right. Not all.
It's not all. It's not everybody.
But the corporate machine it can be great. You and I have had big jobs and big benefits, and it's wonderful when you're riding the tide. but they can also chew you up and spit you out when they're done with you. And over time, I mean, we both work in tech, we've been laid off before. It's just like getting back up on that horse. To survive in this landscape, you do have to have a tough exterior. You do have to turn on the competitiveness. You have to establish yourself. You have to be more masculine to perform at work. And that's okay. Some of us have to show that side of us at work. But the problem is when we bring that side of us into a relationship, that's where we can fail. So yes, and I'm never saying that women shouldn't work or we should go back to, you know, the times in the past, but I think you have to, number one, and this is what I teach my students, awareness is key. You have to know, okay, I'm going into the Thunderdome. This is what it's going to have to take. So what is my self-care routine so that I can come back into a softer place and put that into place? Because if you leave it unchecked, before you know it, you'll be louder than you want to be, harsher than you want to be, harder than you want to be, and then you're just getting feedback. I remember one embarrassing moment for me. I was at a work event and I was talking or laughing or whatever, and every time I talked, the lady next to me, one of the VPs, she kind of went like this. And then other people would start talking and she took her hand down. Then when I started talking, she went like this. And I was like, am I that loud? I didn't know. And so just reading the room and seeing how people respond to you. And then, so I could take that data and say, whatever, I just got, my voice is just what it is. I could do that. You could do that. That's an option. But I chose to be better. And so now I'm very intentional about, I can make my point without shouting. I mean, of course, you know, you have your emotions and moments, but just things like that, that over time, I think we can continue to always be the best version of ourselves.
I think women want to be more feminine. We just don't know how to, because we're always in a gotta go. But we are learning to take time for ourselves. And we are saying no. Like no is a complete sentence. And so we're realizing that we can balance. We can have that and be feminine too. But I also think, MB, in order for that femininity to come out, the space has to be safe, right? For us to feel like we can do that. Because in some instances, and I'm speaking from personal, where I was feminine and I let my guard down and I was vulnerable, that was used against me. Right? And that's unfortunate, right? That people will see, oh, that's a weakness, and you know, and start using that against you to beat you down, versus creating a space where you can blossom, you can learn, and you can grow from it, right? So I do believe that. So I think we do want to get into that more. I wanted to ask you, because I read, you know, I follow you and I see everything. She's like I do the hearts and do everything. And what I wanted to ask was, I noticed there was a point you might have said, and please forgive me if I'm not saying it properly, about manifestation and chakra. And talk a little bit about that, because you're over there.
Y'all are not gonna like me. I don't believe in any of that. I'm sorry.
Well, tell me why. Tell us why.
In fairness, I'm probably ignorant about it. I haven't studied it. I choose not to. I'm a woman of faith like you are, so I do believe in the Bible. I am a Christian. So I understand the spiritual aspect of it. I think, like a lot of things in our culture, it's gotten blown out of proportion. What I see is, you know, I'm going to sit on my hands and just wish upon a star, and it's just going to happen for me. And, you know, I'm going to be a girl boss, and I just don't really have to work at anything, and life is going to be great. That's what I'm against. And I think because I have a lot of men in my family, and just watching the way men get it out of the mud, and nobody's coming to rescue them. That's what we teach our boys, right? Nobody cares. Nobody's rescuing you. You have to earn it every single day. So that's why I'm very passionate about that. I just think maybe in the world that we've created in our mind, maybe, but I think in the real world, especially in relationship with the real men that we want, I think we can be a lot more grounded than we are.
And so is that where the belief system of Kevin Samuelson comes into play a little
Yeah,
bit?
you know, the Kevin Samuels thing, he's so polarizing, right? So many people were like, what is that? And I had the same reaction. The first time I heard him, I was in the shower. I told the story before. Again, it's during the pandemic. I
Yes.
had the news on all the time, and I was just like over it, right? And I had my Google screen, meet, whatever it is, in the shower. And it's just, you know how it auto plays the next video? Okay. And so I'm just doing my thing, and I hear a man talking to a woman, and all I heard him say is, ma'am, you're average at best. And I looked out of the shower. I was like, what did he just say? Like, I had the same reaction. And so, you know, I'm trying to rewind back, and I find out who he is, and I went on the hunt. I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, who is this man, and what is he talking about?
You're a BA by profession.
I am a BA, and I'm analytical, and I'm like, did that just happen? And so I remember asking my man, I was like I knew something. I was like, I heard this man named Kevin Samuels, and he was telling this lady this, and I couldn't believe it. He's like, yeah, babe, he's been talking to the men like that for years. I was like, really? So I went back even further, and if we think he was hard on the women, if you listen to some of his older stuff, he was like, dude, pick a struggle. You can't be broke and this and that. I mean, he was like, you're not going to get anything. Quit your crying. Get in the military if you have to. Like, he was literally like pulling them up by their hair. And I was like, oh, he's equal opportunity. Everybody can get it. So it was like a train wreck. Like, you don't want to watch, but then I couldn't not watch.
Couldn't stop watching
I was like, okay. So he would stream at night, and I would ninja watch, meaning I would never comment. I was never there publicly. I was ninja watching because I could not believe women would continue to call and getting shot down. And I'm like, no, like, you know what it is. Don't do it. Here comes another one. I was like, I had my popcorn. I was like, oh my God, another one. Like, so it was all fun and games until one day he was really trying to help some woman, and she was just really stubborn, you know, because a lot of them really did just try to like prove a point with him. And I'm like, don't argue, just go do your thing. Like, why? Right. And I heard him say, like, I can't do this. Like, where are the older women to teach the young? Like, your mother should have told you this. Like, you shouldn't be this age and not know some of the basic things. And it just got me, because I was like, I have boys, so I don't have daughters, and I'm living my life happy in my cul-de-sac. Don't bother me. I won't bother you. Right. But I did feel a calling in that moment, like, the older really are supposed to teach the young. We are. That's how the cultures have been forever. The older men take the young men out and show them how to be a man. Correct. That's just how it is. And so I'm like, okay, Maggie, what are you doing? And I was like, oh man. So I booked a session with him because I had an idea to create a community of like-minded women who agreed with that. I knew, again, it wasn't for everyone. And I will say this, I mean, he's since passed, but one-on-one, he was a lot more sincere. I really believe, you know, he meant what he said in his show, but he really was trying to rattle our cage. I understand. And you say things that kind of get that shock value. Got me to listen. Got you to listen. So he gave us his blessing, and he had a Patreon, so I started in his Patreon kind of saying the same thing, but in a feminine way that hopefully women who wanted to would hear. And then I've just brought that out to YouTube now. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
But you know, you're not like the rest of the women. So the conversation with him was going to be different.
Yes, I believe so, because I went in to help. Yes. I didn't go in to like rate me. Like, look, I mean, come on, we're average women. It's fine. I'm happily that way. I know I've got weight issues. We've talked about that. But I said, you know, as an older woman, you know, with relationship experience, been through divorce, done the work, got back on my feet. Like, I do feel like I have something to offer. You do. And I was, you know, hoping he would say yes and create a space. If he said no, then that's fine. I just go back to my life. But he was like, yeah, let me see what you can do. Because obviously he couldn't get through the way he wanted to. The walls were just up. So that's what I do. Yeah.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Always wanting it. And she seals it with a smile. So how has it been? Do you see women starting to transition and change their mindset a bit?
I do. I always believe that the good ones are out here. We're just quiet. The ones with the megaphone, the ones that are saying, this is who we are not who we are. Like what you said about feeling like the odd one out when you're at the, I've always stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, please, like, really? So I think that there has been a remnant, if you will, of women who did want something different, who do appreciate men.
Yes.
Even if we've had our heart broken, like, we don't have horrible, we don't lead with that, right?
We believe there are good ones out there.
Exactly.
There are good, let me lean in. There are good men out there. There are good men out there.
Yes, absolutely.
There are good men out there, yes.
Absolutely. And we're raising boys to be good men. You know, and so I
have good men in my village. They're my friends. They look out for me.
Absolutely.
But they're good men.
They're good men. My father, my ex-husband, even though we're divorced, we co-parent. Yes. My man, I have 2 boys. You know, there's I still say father-in-law. We're still family. Like, there's just too many good men. So I said, I never went out to like change the world or hit anybody over the head. So I never had this, I need to convert or control anybody. I tell people all the time, if this is not for you, you know, that's totally fine. But for the women that are interested in something maybe more traditional or something that would last, maybe they didn't see the example growing up. Maybe they had a bitter mother who said men ain't you know what.
Right.
And she's 20-something with no life experience, but all of a sudden she's angry and doesn't know why. You know, there's just so many women that could use a different perspective, and that's where I feel a calling to. And so I feel like, yes, in the beginning it was a rush of the ones that were like, finally, I knew there were others out there. There were others that were kind of watching from the wings and waiting, like, who is this lady, you know? And that's totally fine. And so slowly I see more coming, because I think it will get worse before it gets better, but I think a change is coming.
It's coming.
I do.
What's your friends like? Your friend zone, like outside of your present company? But are you finding it difficult to find like-minded people that you can call your friends?
No, and the reason why I struggle is because the friends that I have are the friends that I have.
Okay.
I'm really not trying to make new friends.
I understand.
And so people who know me, I'm the same. Like, there's this new like public side of Maggie or MB or Margaret, but like I'm still the same. But I also don't lead with my opinions if I'm not asked.
I'm with you.
That's also a masculine thing to do. Like, if we're meeting for tea or we're going to the botanical gardens, let's just have tea and go to the botanical gardens.
That's right.
Nobody asked me.
I know.
My opinion.
I typically ask. I'll say, what do you think?
That's why we're here.
Yeah. That's why I'll ask, what do you think, MB?
Exactly.
And you'll go, well, you know, Michelle, let me give it some thought.
Exactly.
And you'll tell me. But yeah, we've never come, I think we come from the mom space and the corporate working space, but we've never come from that space.
And I have friends like straight up West Coast liberal woman power girlfriends, and I love them and they love me, and we are polar opposites, but we could get together and go to a winery and have a wonderful time. And I think that's part of it too. You don't have to, everybody doesn't have to agree with us.
No, they don't. They don't have to like it, agree, or even understand it.
That's
or
true.
Why would you want to do it? Why would you want to do that? Why would you? They don't understand it. They didn't even get it. You were married before.
Yes.
There's a man in your life now.
Yes.
He makes you smile. I see you smiling. My eyes are closed right now. I see you beaming. This wives club, do you desire to be a wife? You are a wife.
Yes, I am a wife.
You are a wife. Let's call it what it is.
And that is one thing I heard Kevin Samuel say, a wife is a mindset. And that's why the community that I created is for former wives, current wives, and future wives. Because even the scripture says he who finds a wife,
finds a good thing.
Exactly. So we need to be moving the way a wife would move for him to see, is that my wife?
Yes.
So yes, I would love to remarry. I hope it happens, but I have shared this publicly. My man has said that he does not want to blend the families. And so he says you need to finish what you start, having children from marriage. And so once the boys are up and out, then he said it'll be our turn. So,
she's so tickled.
I am so happy. I'm so happy. You're so funny.
Oh my gosh! Because It's a lot to say. I won't say. I'm just happy for you. And
Me
you
too.
are a living example that things are possible.
Yes.
You know, because coming from divorce is not easy.
Oh.
But not only did you do that, you're a great mom. And you created a brand. Like, you
Yes.
are a brand. I sit back and I'm like, MB is a brand. She's got a apron with her logo on it. Like, she puts it on. Wait a minute, I gotta put on my uniform. She puts on the uniform because Lena, she has a food channel.
Yes.
She has a cooking channel. She has a cooking channel.
Yeah.
That's what she'll say. Despite everything else that she's doing, she has a cooking channel. She'll put on her apron. She'll start doing that. And I was like, man, I've been in that house.
Yeah.
I've slept there. I'm like, I know exactly where it is. I'm like, oh wow, she's doing what she loves, and you're so happy. And it just gives people hope. I know we have to do the work.
Yeah.
And what I came to the revelation this morning when I got up was that everybody has their own journey.
That's true.
Everybody's journey is different.
That's true.
It doesn't make you any better or me better than anyone else. Our steps are ordered.
Yes.
And it's we're supposed to experience different things. And so your journey has been beautiful to watch.
Thank you.
Because it continues to evolve, because it was a cooking channel and still is.
It is, but I understand that part of having a brand, I mean, we have big brand experience. I can do what I want, but I also have to balance that with what the audience wants.
Yes.
Or I could just cook privately in my house like I've been doing forever. And so I try to respond to what people want.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all have our boundaries. You know, you talked about in a changing world, how do you maintain? It's a decision. You know, there are some things that I will do, some things that I won't do. But it's a joy for me. It's still a hobby. I still work full time like you. So it's a wonderful hobby because now the boys live with their dad.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to become like another job or another burden.
Right.
You know, it could grow into, you know, a big production, but as janky as it is sometimes, you know, this is what we do and have fun with it.
You have a great time. You're like, oh, I forgot to take myself off mute.
I'm always struggle streaming.
It's cute though. It's adorable.
Thank you.
But what I do admire you, Margaret, is that you do stick to your core.
Yeah.
Like what's important to you.
Yeah.
You've not deviated from that.
No.
And you just share it. And your attitude, as optimistic as it is, if you like it, it's here. If not, you could swipe to the left.
Absolutely.
You could just keep going or scroll up.
Absolutely. There's so much on the internet. I never understood that. People who, I wouldn't make it that way or I wouldn't think that way. And that's fine. But when I see something I disagree with, I just move on to something I do. Like, I don't understand that.
Do you have negative banter
I
in your
do.
chin?
I have people make comments, you know, okay, yeah, but you're not married. We've talked about that.
Right.
Of course, you know, I've had people make fun of my size, you know, like I shouldn't give relationship advice until I take the fork out of my mouth or whatever it is.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. But see, here's the thing. You're hearing about
you
it.
got a man.
Yes, I do. Here's the thing. Like, you're hearing about it now because you've asked.
Yes.
I don't talk about it. I will slowly just block, delete, and
understand.
go. You'll never hear about
I understand.
it. There are some people who, can you believe someone said that? Why would people do that? I'm not even going to give it the.
I understand.
If it's not for you, it's not for you. In my little corner of the internet, we're happy doing what we're doing.
You sure are.
Find what makes you happy.
You sure are.
Why?
Yeah, you are delighting people. What's next for the brand Maggie the Substitute? What do you have cooking happening?
So much is coming up.
Yes, an etiquette class is coming up. People can sign up.
Absolutely. So thank you,
Yes.
Michelle. So if you're interested in learning about etiquette, elegance, and femininity, we have created the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. It is an 8-week privately taught course. It's over Zoom, and you get to keep the materials for a lifetime, where we teach ladies of all ages to be the best version of themselves. And then we have a graduation here in Atlanta where we completely spoil you. You can go to Teachable Moments with Maggie.com for all of the details. But, you know, I've got the cookbook, I've got the finishing school. I do coaching, one-on-one and group. Of course, the cooking stream. Now I'm part of a YouTube program that allows me to travel. I'm going to Idaho later this month for a restaurant.
Nice.
Japan in October.
Nice. Congratulations.
A cruise in November. in
I
Ghana.
seen you Google. Did you go to Google one time?
Yeah, so I've been to Google's office probably about 10 times now. So when
Awesome.
my clip, the accidental clip, went viral, YouTube reached out to me because it got over 1 million views. And they reached out to me about joining a program for the shorts creators. And so that has opened me up to a network of other creators and networking and events. And I make content every day so people can follow me. It's just Maggie, the substitute teacher, on all platforms. But a lot of good stuff is coming this year and into next year. So I'm having a blast. I can't believe I'm here.
You're having a good time.
I'm having a great
You're
time.
having a great time, man. What kind of recipes are in the cookbook, really quickly?
So
What do
I
you got in
asked
there?
my, okay, so I'm the substitute teacher, so my viewers are the scholars.
Okay.
So
Yes, I saw
everything
you.
is
I saw
classroom
you.
related.
Yes,
So the microwave is the whiteboard. We have lessons. So the scholars.
Raise your hand if you want us to get credit for class
If you're
today.
present,
if
we
you're
take
present,
attendance.
take attendance. Yes.
So you get the
Yes!
thing. So the scholars voted on the recipes, and it's some of my favorites. So I have my signature is a pancake called Maggie Cakes, but it's gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. There's pancakes. There's there's taco bowls. I have a beverage section, a breakfast section, a lunch section, a dinner section, and a dessert section.
Nice.
And it's an interactive cookbook. So it's all on the Teachable Moments with Maggie.com. But you can see the recipe, see a picture, and then you click on it and it shows a video of me preparing it.
Nice.
So you can follow along.
Nice. I'm going to get that because I think sugar is not my friend. I love sugar.
I love it. It doesn't love
it's
me.
It's not my friend.
No.
And I believe in what you're saying, that if I substitute that, energy will be different.
Yeah.
I have a little ache and pain here and there. I think that'll go away because I'm not old.
Exactly.
I don't look it and I don't want to feel it. I'm too cute to feel. Come on, Maggie. Come on,
Absolutely.
girl.
I think we can age gracefully.
Yes,
I think we can
absolutely.
still live full lives and active lives. I mean, some things will be different, but I'm looking forward to the next 20, 30
Yes,
years.
it's cute. It's
Yeah.
going to be cute. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
What's the age demographics for your finishing school?
You know, interestingly enough, we have had from 18 to 65.
Are you serious?
I was shocked too. So I was told to focus on the young ones because honestly, we do as older women get a reputation that we just are who we are. So so I was thinking 20s and under. We did have one right out of high school who her mom was kind of pushing her towards the college route, and that's not what she wanted. She knew she wanted to marry young and have a family, but her surroundings were giving her the hit the brick. So there was that, and then we had a divorcee who was over 60, and she took on a leadership role in her marriage, and it burned her out. And so she was like, I don't want to do this again, and if not for me, I want to be a better example for my daughter and granddaughters. And so when I say women of all ages, all states, everybody is welcome, because I do think, and my man told me, Maggie, tell the ladies, you're already feminine. You just have to stop fighting it.
You know what? I love it. We're going to have tea.
Oh, yes, we should.
I haven't spent time with you in a while.
I know. It's been so long.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
Yeah, it's
we
been
should
a
have
long
tea.
time. We need
have you ever
tea.
been to afternoon tea?
No.
Oh my gosh, yes, I need to take
We
you.
need to have afternoon tea. And
Yes.
then when I work on some finances, we're going to have tea in London.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I know you don't believe in the power of manifestation, but I'm gonna work some things out.
Look, Michelle, you are a hard worker. You can manifest all day long, and I honestly, with respect, I don't knock it for anyone else, but I know how hard you work. You work very hard. So yes, we can add that on top.
Yes.
All I'm saying is not to manifest and not work. Because even the scripture says if you don't work,
Faith without works
exactly.
is dead.
So by all means, if you need that or you like that on top of, I just think the work is our foundation in whatever your outcome is. So yeah, I'll be in London next year for the polo.
I want to go.
Yeah, I was
We
there
have to
this summer.
talk. That's on my bucket list. I want to
Yes.
go to London, so I want to
Have you ever been?
No.
Oh my gosh.
You're such a traveler. I have to catch up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
get
one of the
there.
things I do. I'm in
Yeah.
a travel group every year. I just came back from Egypt. I love having an active life. And
Yes.
so my changes help me have that active life, and then learning about the cuisine and other
You're
areas.
just wonderful. You're delicious in person. I just want you to have continued success in
you.
everything that you do, because your heart is always in the right place.
Thank you.
It is, and you deserve it. And it's such a good look for women, especially Black women, because we've just been so oppressed and heavy. And it's great to see that hard work pays off.
It does. It does.
And that you can be feminine while you're doing it.
Yes.
You don't have to be hardcore. You don't have to be,
No.
You could just be yourself.
Yes.
And just do it.
Femininity really is our superpower.
It is.
I think a lot of women think we need to compete with men.
I don't want to.
As men, but we will never get as far as if we lean into our natural gifts.
Yes.
And I think it helps us at work, it helps us at home with kids and relationship. For me, but I think when a lot of women allow themselves to realize it's a strength and not a weakness, you will be amazed at what a feminine woman can do in a space.
Awesome. Where can the people find you?
So yes, you can find me. I am Maggie the Substitute Teacher. You can find me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitch, on Twitter, or at teachablemomentswithmaggie.com.
She's beautiful in person. I'm so glad she's my friend. Listen, that's my time. Look, you see how I've toned it down? Because I've been with this beautiful person. That's my time. You know me, Real Chicks Rock. I'm everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, which is now X now.
That's right.
I'm on Facebook. Go subscribe to our website, realchicksrock.com. Subscribe because we blog. We send newsletters out. We do all kinds of things. You need a t-shirt. Maggie has my t-shirts.
Right.
She has them.
You
She's
need new
been a
sizes.
supporter. Yeah, I got to get her a smaller size for now. She's been a supporter for years. She loves the brand. She loves us. Be like her. Follow, subscribe, like. Don't miss another episode of this show. But I'm going to leave you with this before I go. May you live to be 100, and I live to be 100 minus a day, so I never knew that beautiful people like you had passed away.